Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Nonprofit Enthusiast Live. I'm your host, Lashina Williams, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today. Our topic today is going to be talking about programs that get funded, designing impact funders can trust. And today we have very special guests from the Applied AI Innovation Initiative with the University of Central Florida joining us. We have Dr. Marinsa Kunsha and Katie Dones joining us. So please join me as I welcome them up. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for inviting us. This is very exciting. Thank you. We're happy to be part of the conversation.
Absolutely. So before we get started, we like to kind of talk about and just learn more about how you entered the nonprofit arena and what that looks like for you.
Sure. So, how it started, oh my God, that was so long ago. I was in my early 20s, I believe. And I always wanted to do something to give back to the community, but I didn't know how I was going to be able to do that. So after I graduated from FIU with my bachelor's degree in international relations, I got the opportunity to apply for a fellowship with the University of Michigan. And the focus of that fellowship was on demography, but also on population studies. It was a little bit different than international relations, but I still wanted to try it and find out a little bit more what was that about. So applied, and they pretty much placed me in Zambia, outside the United States, in the African continent, sub-Saharan Africa, the beautiful country of Zambia. And I stayed there for 3 months in the capital of Lusaka. And in there, I was able to know a little bit more about how communities work and how nonprofit organizations operate, specifically under very difficult circumstances. So back then, and I'm talking about 2001 when that happened, there was a lot of incidents on HIV and AIDS in Lusaka and the workplace specifically. So it was such a interesting experience that it allowed me to navigate a little bit of the field of program evaluation without having any knowledge or any type of idea what I was getting myself into. But I was able to collect information on the people that work in that nonprofit organization, understand their needs, and without even knowing it, I was doing a needs assessment. I didn't even know that I was doing a needs assessment, but I ended up doing a needs assessment. And so I made those recommendations to the country director and make sure that I was able to raise the voices of those people that have so much trouble to being heard, and those people that don't are not in power and they have limited opportunities to be heard. So I found out such a beautiful way of giving back to the community. I went back to the United States and did a master's in Latin American studies. And after that, I had the opportunity to work with different vulnerable and hard to reach populations, specifically in the area of South Miami-Dade, Homestead, Florida, with my beautiful two nonprofit organizations, which I still work with them after so many years. One is Mujer, and which means women in English, and Familia, which is with our family. And
Mhm.
nonprofit organizations provide different types of services, specifically targeting to the farm workers population to prevent or to provide services for domestic violence survivors and sexual assault survivors. So that's how it started. And then, long story short, I went back to school, did a PhD with the University of Central Florida, and after a few years of doing consulting, decided to go back to academia, and I've been working as a full-time lecturer, associate lecturer now at the School of Public Administration, teaching nonprofit management topics, including program evaluation and grant writing and research methods. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I decided to start in kind of like understanding a little bit more the role of AI and how can that be applicable in the nonprofit sector. So we have a lot of things to talk about. That's
Mhm.
a nutshell of what my journey was with community-based organizations and nonprofits.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Katie, what about you? What did that journey look like for you?
Yeah, my journey is also here in South Florida, especially in Miami, the Coral Gables, Key Biscayne area. So during my high school years, I was really looking out for funding to try to get into college. As a first generation, I had no idea how to get the college process started, if I even qualified for financial aid. And it was a good teacher of mine that recommended me to local nonprofits here in South Florida, such as the Kiwanis Club of Little Havana and the Key Biscayne Community Foundation. And because of those nonprofits, I was able to attend the University of Central Florida to get my communications degree during my undergrad years. And that just kind of stuck with me during the past 4 years. I was able to attend college thanks to these nonprofits. And I knew that I wanted to go back to school, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to get a master's in. And that's when it kind of all clicked. Why don't I give it a moment and go full circle and explore the nonprofit arena? So I did complete my master's in nonprofit administration while I was also working with the Hispanic Heritage Scholarship Fund, giving scholarships to students in Central Florida. So it does kind of go full circle for me. And at that moment, I also had the opportunity that Dr. Concha provided me with to become a technical assistant for Orange County nonprofits. And that's where I really learned about what the nonprofits' needs are in the community in Central Florida and how to really do consulting with nonprofits. So I really thank Dr. Concha for that experience and how it shaped me.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive into this month's topic of programs that get funded, designing impact funders can trust. So we know that, and we have an array of nonprofit organizations tuning in. Some are large organizations, been around for a very long time. It may be their directors, their executive directors, board of directors, and so forth. And then we even have students in here, or smaller nonprofits that's also in here as well. So keeping that in mind, what are some tips that you have for organization when it comes to building sustainable programs that funders can trust?
Sure. So that sustainability can come from two angles, right? The first one will be programmatic. How true you can be within your mission, how much alignment is the program you're trying to implement with the mission of your nonprofit. That's the first thing. Number two, data, 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 data. Collect information to show impact. I remember back in the days, while I was doing consulting, some nonprofit organizations will talk to me and say, well, I have a lot of information of the wonderful things that we do in this nonprofit. And so I was like, great, show me the data, right? Like,
Hmm.
show me the data. And it was
Hmm.
like, well, individual A told me that my program is great because A, B, C, and D. And then the other one told me that this is, needs a little bit of improvement because A, B, C, and D. And I was thinking, this is great. I think I'm part of the oral history moment here, which is great, but it still need documentation as to where exactly are those anecdotes. Is it recorded? Is it through your satisfaction surveys, or recommendations that are written down somewhere? Even, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes when collecting data, and when I say data and showing impact, you have to also think outside the box, because standardized ways of doing this, like data collection, surveys, focus groups, interviews, is something that is entertaining, and it's also, necessary as well. But at the same time, thinking outside the box, how can we collect information that is not necessarily it fits into the standard way of doing it? For instance, you can collect data through games. You can collect data through poems. You can collect data through diagrams or figures or drawings. So there's so many ways in which you can collect data and collect that information that will stand up your organization and kind of like foment or encourage to be creative, but at the same time show that impact. So um, and then the third recommendation will be the financial aspect of it. Right now that we have the program, now that we collect the data creatively or not creatively, but we collect some information to show impact, then also the financial um, healthiness of your organization. Where is that accuracy and that accountability, right, of the money that you have received so far? Where those monies are coming from, and where is it going? How has been, invested? And the more transparent you are, the better it is for you to continue getting those grants from funders. So that will be kind of like my three recommendations.
I love that. So align mission with a program. I love that you talked about that, because oftentimes, sometimes a program might pop up, a great idea, or maybe this happens in the nonprofit sector. Funding maybe popped up, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it feels like, oh, it aligns with my mission, and it doesn't. That kind of thing. So thinking, does that program align with our mission? Because unfortunately, if it doesn't, it creates more tension than needed within the organization because of that misalignment there. So I love that you talked about that. Also, love that you talked about data and the importance of data, and then also the creative ways of data, because sometimes we can think real traditional with it when it comes to surveys, assessments, those type of things. But I love that you talked about maybe games, using some creative ways, to be able to pull the
Yeah.
information that you need. And honestly, like for myself, a lot of times working with youth, doing a survey and things like that, they get fatigued after being in school all day and then coming and doing another assessment. Yeah,
It's
which
just
skews the data.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And then they're like just they get tired, and then the fatigue of completing surveys, and then you see that, and that obviously mess up your data. And one of the things we have done with my team here is that we have created games like Monopoly games to do evaluations with youth. So you create a case scenario, you have your decks, and then you throw the dice, and then you start moving the pieces, and then just no, to have a conversation, kind of like collect that information through a way in which is informal, but at the same time entertaining, and at the same time you are getting to, you get them to talk, which is very
Hmm.
typical. Youth sometimes don't want to talk, so if
Yep.
they are in the playing, in a playful scenario, they make it more comfortable and be more open to share their feelings and to share what their perceptions. So
So when using a creative method like that, like the Monopoly, like how does tracking take place? That they're playing the game now. What?
So we have a note taker next to it.
Okay.
So while that's happening, everything that is when we do the serious games, so the cards or the scenario is pretty much focused or developed based on the program that you are evaluating. So it's not something generic; it's something tailored to your program to measure that impact.
Hmm.
So when they are playing, they're going to be like, oh, yes, I remember going to this place as part of the program. And I thought about this place. That was a great, location to get an intervention or to receive some services because it was closer to home. It was blah, blah, blah. And so they start having that conversation. And then there is the competition because all of them want to win, right?
Hmm.
They want to share their knowledge and they want to share their perception because there is an incentive at the end of winning the game as well. So that's another method. And even if you want to document pre and post knowledge, right? You can play the game at the beginning, and this is more like on knowledge concepts. And instead of having a pre-test with something very specific, you can have the same scenarios with the same information and play that game, and just have another note taker to collect that information and document. And then at the end of the intervention, you play the game again with the same students, and then you have your pre and post like that through gaming. So there's so many different ways. If you want to, for instance, just disseminate your findings, and this is something that will highlight your organization, right? In the way that you are sharing data. Let's say that you did a survey on a needs assessment and you want to share the main findings of that needs assessment with the community. You're not going to do a PowerPoint presentation or even an infographic, because community may be like, yeah, but this is just too much data. I don't know what that means. This is complicated. I'm getting bored. People start checking their cell phones, right?
Hmm.
When you see that, it's like you're losing them. So one recommendation, we created a puzzle. And Katie can talk more a little bit about that. But we created
Hmm.
a puzzle in which we put the infographic into the puzzle. So people, when they were putting the pieces together, they start to find out the data as a way of
Wow.
in the pieces. And we also did another activity, which was kind of like a Lego connectors, in which
Hmm.
they come up with their own stories based on the data points that we identify. So statistics or data that came from the needs assessment, for instance, we can, kind of like divide it before, during, and after some intervention, some promo, or whatever information we collected. And so they can come up with their own stories based on that data, and they can form shapes. And depending on
Mm.
what they feel like. And then I think, Katie, you can just maybe share a little bit more on that, if you don't mind.
Who said data can't be fun?
Data can be fun. Yes, you have parties. I love data parties. That's what we do.
Yes,
Love it.
I think that should actually be Dr. Concha's mission from now on, who says data can't be fun.
Right?
Yeah, so she is all about that. And we actually did have a couple of data parties with UCF students and also members of the community to really unlock those data points through the connectors or the puzzles. And what that allows organizations to not only be secure in their data and provide that for the funder, but it also provides the organization with a sense of community with the people right there in their own organization. So imagine a nonprofit that you're involved with invites you over for a data party, and now you're unlocking this data, coming together as a community versus just sitting through a PowerPoint presentation and showing you infographics. So that's really, what the setup behind everything is, for us to come together and unlock these data points and understand why, but in a fun way.
Oh my gosh. I love this. I love it. And I know you're going to share some resources later regarding how we can learn more about that and integrate similar fun ways of having data into the work that we do from on a day-to-day basis. So let's talk a little bit about before I move into the AI portion. Is there anything else that you want to share regarding programs that get funded and designing impact that funders can trust?
I think that before we talk about AI and how can that be a tool to,
Mhm.
can be easily incorporated on this, I think overall the participatory aspect of it, I think, is extremely important. I think that the way that we're, societies and community in general, we need to understand that the programs that we provide serve a specific audience, right? And if we don't hear what the audience wants, what our population needs, then the programs, even though maybe aligned with our mission, is not in alignment with the community gap that we
Mm.
serve. So that is very important for us. It's just try to understand also that that alignment that I talked at the beginning is not only with the mission, but also with your target community. And if you have representation of your community within the program that you are designing, implementing, and evaluating, it is better for you because then you can hear from them. Always keep in mind that community members are the experts of what they're going through. So that is part of the community participatory action research or community participatory evaluation as well. When we involve participants or community members into every single aspect of your program design and development, it's very important because it not only would empower them, because it will bring their voice out loud, right, and heard, but also it will allow you to understand why things that you may anticipate that were amazing ideas may not work in reality. So always keep checking what the community needs and how that translates back into your program. That's what I would like to share.
I love that. I love that. So mission alignment and involving the community, and what are those community needs when it comes to designing a program that funders can trust. Love it.
Mhm.
Um, So let's jump into the conversation of AI and some of the exciting things that you all have going on, along with what you've been seeing when it comes to AI for nonprofit organizations and how they can maximize the benefits of it.
Benefits. So, well, artificial intelligence is not what I will say is that don't be scared to jump into the pool. You know, I did that 2 years ago without having any knowledge whatsoever what I was getting myself to. But at this moment, I believe most of your audience have even tried ChatGPT to do certain things or to talk about some recommendations or maybe checking grammar or maybe giving them ideas. But AI and generative AI is more than
Mhm.
that. And what I mean by generative AI, so when you use like ChatGPT or Claude, which are the large language models, those are the large language models that would allow you to create content. And that's why it's called generative AI because it generates new content, right? So it will generate new content in terms of text, video, audio, coding, all of those great things, right? But with that access to technology, it also comes the issue with some limitations. Limitations in terms of who has access to AI because it's expensive. There is OpenAI, but with OpenAI, the biggest challenge is that all the information that you put into those large language systems are going to be used for training the model. So, in
Mhm.
other words, if you have uploading a picture of you or your community or your children or anything or your personal information, everything will be used to train your large language models, meaning that your information is out there for everyone to see. That's pretty much in simple terms what it means. So you have to be careful as to how much you want to share for open AI or AI that is free. This is why it's important to subscribe to certain platforms. Now, for the nonprofit sector, you can use AI in so many different ways, from evaluating impact. Who can imagine that myself, which I have zero knowledge on technology, I now do dashboards
Mm,
without coding using simple prompting. So I use dashboards to monitor my program performance and also to do data analysis in real time. I also have created different types of applications for games on prompting, which is Russia's one of my other students that she created a game on how to practice prompting through a
mhm,
game, again using an app for developing that. Katie created a research hub for all of our nonprofit organizations that participated in our capacity building. That was part of to enhance their learning experience and exchange communication among the participants. So that's something else. So we created websites. So there's so many things that you can
mhm,
do. And about a year ago, with Orange County Commissioner for Children, we received a grant for doing capacity building and the intersection with AI. So
mhm,
last year we have our first cohort of almost 30 organizations, and they all receive training, a very intense training on AI in the nonprofit sector. So we talk about prompting, we talk about generative AI, agentic AI, we talk about ethics and selection biases, hallucinations, all of that. We talk
mhm,
about AI in grant writing, in program evaluation, in the nonprofit management sector. And then we provided also different types of AI applications and overviews of what they can use to enhance their creativity, avoid duplication of repetitive services, or not services, but tasks.
mhm.
They can become more efficient and have more time available on their own to do other creative stuff in their organization. So I think, having said that, Katie, you would like to share a little bit more about the AI for Nonprofit course. So the course in reality is for the Orange County grantees, but we also have a version of the course that is available for everyone to register for. But the only thing they have to do is they have to pay a small fee, which is $500, and it's going to be like in different cohorts. But Katie, you can explain a little bit more if you don't mind about the course.
Yeah, so as we mentioned previously, we have been in this nonprofit sector. So I can truly say that the AI for Nonprofits course is built by us through the nonprofit sector for nonprofits. And it's really just designed to help nonprofits and foundations use modern digital tools to strengthen their programs, operations, and community impact without really needing that technical background. So if you've been scared of jumping into AI, this course will provide, that opportunity for you. And it's really built around 8 modules. You'll also have a final exam to make sure that you're getting everything along the way, along with assignments. We've also built quizzes, and every assignment we teach you step by step how to complete the assignment. So our modules include stuff from security, accountability, and ethics, the art of prompting, AI and grant writing, but also its limitations, and what do funders really think about grant writing and AI together, measuring impact with AI tools, nonprofit management topics, storytelling, and then my favorite, automation and chatbots. So they actually have the opportunity to build their own chatbot for their organization. And yes, all of this is without having any technical experience. So it's really a chance for nonprofits to learn new stuff around AI, but also something that they can implement within their organization. So this course, it is $625, but we are running a 20% off discount, and it is starting March 23rd with the 20% off. It'll be $500, and make sure that you go ahead and follow our LinkedIn and Facebook account, UCF Applied AI Innovation Initiative. That's where we're going to have the link where you can sign up and register for the course. And we'll also have an information session that we'll post on there too, but we'll go ahead and send you the flyer with information along too.
All right, awesome. We'll definitely drop that into the group. So tell me, who is the ideal candidate within the organization to attend this training?
Anyone.
Okay.
I would like to open it to anyone. And the reason why is because you don't need much of knowledge on AI. And we also teach you the basic concepts as well of certain nonprofit management topics. So we're not going to throw you like, here it is, how you're going to use AI in the nonprofit, in the grant writing, aspect of it. We teach you what grant writing is a little bit. We give you like a refresh course of what that is. It's the same thing with the measuring impact. Like we're going to go and teach a little bit about program evaluation, about the different types, the different approaches. So you know more about it. And when you are ready to start using prompting, you know what to ask for. Right. So that's why it's open for everyone. It's open from the CEO to the management, to the service delivery, even to volunteers. Everyone.
Awesome. Love that. And what a wonderful, that is actually a really good cost and investment for an organization to be able to attend this training, and then implement, if they're not integrating AI into the work that they do across the entire organization. So thank you so much for sharing. And I believe you mentioned this is online, correct?
Correct. It is
Okay.
self-paced online, but it will have office hours.
Mhm.
Katie and Rasha will have a weekly office hours. So whoever register into the course, they can participate in the office hours, ask questions. And if they have questions about the assignments, again, Rasha and Katie can, navigate them through that as well.
Awesome. Thank you. So before we close out, how can anyone tuning in stay in touch with you all, whether it's you all individually or the school as a whole?
Sure. Katie, what's the email for the
Yes, you can reach out to us by email. It's appliedai@ucf.edu. And that's our email for the initiative, and we do check it, so we'll be answering any questions that come through there.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. Anytime you want to come back on, especially just to dive deeper into the conversation of AI and some of the trends that you all are seeing, you are more than welcome to. But we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you.
No,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Of